Hi, ladies. Good
Hi.
evening. A warm welcome to our hosts, our members, and our guests. Guests are still to join. We have one. Hi, Tina. I'll begin with a brief introduction to Without Filters. It's a space which supports and encourages the search for meaning through the listening without bias or prejudice. It's a gendered space in that it's only women. Getting through the mundane routine housekeeping, do ensure that your microphone is on mute when you're not speaking, that you switch off your video if you're stepping away from the meeting, and that your mobile device is set on silent. Animal, bow wow wow meow, communication. In this topic resides two words which are very dear to my heart: animals and communication. A big thank you to you, Mela, for making these wonderful words come together, for introducing Nilu and Anjali to our space. Thank you again. In very broad terms, it's through communication that we get our wants, our needs, our messages to the person across. Our furry friends are communicating to us in a language, in a manner in which they can, in a method they know. I believe it's a lack of awareness and understanding of what the other is telling, which results in the misinterpretation, the misreadings. Through Nilu's and Anjali's sharing, we will hopefully understand to discredit the hard held perspective where we automatically label animals as aggressive or out of control with the need to be trained. Ms. Nilu Kulkarni, a member of the Lady Sri Ram's College Students' Union in 1984, read for a bachelor's in education. After graduation, Nilu had a fabulous inning of 15 years at NIIT. She took a sabbatical to spend time at home, to be with her son, and contribute in his school. During this period, she evolved as an individual, also as a parent to her son and their pets, a golden retriever Sabkuch and a straight cat Kubchi. Nilu, the mathematician, the corporate trainer, wife, mother, daughter, friend, event manager, activist, communicator, traces a common thread which runs through these many roles, namely compassion. It's compassion which makes Nilu walk her why. I'm inviting Anjali to take us to a further introducing. The Q&A session is chaired by Anjali. Do submit your questions on the chat to Anjali. You may ask questions in person and they will be answered once the submitted questions are completed. Over to you, Anjali, who takes us to Nilu, and thank you.
Thanks so much, Pareen, for the introduction. A little about myself. I don't like the term pet owner. I call myself a pet parent. I've been a pet parent ever since I was 15, and now I'm 60. Okay, so it's been a long haul for me, and since I was single, my life actually revolved around my pets. Started with Shiba, then Solo, and the third one was Ditto. But I've always been attracted towards animals, and they've always come. I always say I prefer the four-leggeds to the two-leggeds. So from bathing to walking to brushing, doing just about everything for my little bachas. Since I've been 15, I thought I knew it all. Till I may get a little emotional here. Till I lost my last one. That was Ditto. It hurts, still hurts. But I thought I knew it all. So the first time when he fell ill and there was a disconnect between the symptoms and his illness, which was, really troubling me. And I kept on saying, I wish I could talk to him, or I wish when I took him to the vet, I could just figure out where the pain was stemming from and why is he so in so much distress. And then a friend of mine rang me up and said, you know what, I know an animal communicator. So I said, an animal communicator? And my first reaction
May
was,
I introduce, sorry to interrupt, there's somebody's microphone which is working. All the guests, please, could you mute your mics? Thank you.
so the first time I heard about an animal communicator, I was a little cynical, I'm being very honest, because I said, hello, I do everything for my kid. How can someone else know what's going on in Ditto's life? And I mean, but as I said, there was this disconnect between the pain and the symptoms. And my whole thing was just to help in whichever way. He was getting all the medical attention, he was getting all the love. But then I reached out to Nilu. I got Nilu's number and I reached out to her. And so my first conversation, when she started talking, I said, hold on. My logical mind kicked in and I said, listen, let me understand this before I open up. Let me understand this because it's my baby. What I'm sharing about my baby is very personal. So let me figure out what's going on. And I can't even begin to explain the journey. It was beautiful. It was, in a way, earth-shattering because, as I said, being an involved pet parent, you feel you're already communicating with your dog and you know what he wants, his sense, his behavior, just about everything. But this takes it to a completely different level and a platform. And I'm actually blessed to have Nilu as my communicator between me and Ditto. She opened up, from first I must have been her client, and then it's like the journey has been absolutely amazing. And Nilu, please now take it forward because, she's my guru.
Thank you so much. You get me also very teary, but I have to bring in here before Ditto was a very special soul. I was very fortunate to be able to connect with Ditto because he taught me a lot. He was one of my teachers who helped me to have the confidence in me, knowing that Anjali comes from that kind of a background, and to be able to help and hold the communication between both of them. I'm coming to what it means to have a communication. I'll just explain that to you. But today I really want to, and I'm sure Ditto is with us, Anjali, and let's just dedicate this session to him because we are what we are, a client, but I've made the best friend of Anjali. And also to tell you all that Anjali went through a course. She's an outstanding animal communicator herself, though she doesn't talk about it, but I go back to her to ask for clarifications when I'm in doubt of an animal telling me some messages. So I send it to her and she gets back to me and tells me, yes, I'm right or not. So more importantly, she's become now a colleague of mine. But most important is, before I start the session, thanks, Mela, and thanks, Shireen. It's been just beautiful, Shireen, for spending so much time to help us understand this whole platform. And for me, it's, nothing can be better than getting even one person to share with, to let you all know that, where I can talk about the voice of these voiceless. And as Anjali stated, that this ownership is something even I think nobody has an ownership on anyone. We come from the fact that, we consider ourselves superior beings, human beings, and animals as inferior. And that's where the disconnect is, because they are also divine, they are souls. And the moment we understand that they have come into our lives for a karmic connection, there's a soul connect. So each and every pet, you need not be a pet owner, need not be a pet lover. You may be a person who dislikes pets, but I'm sure each of us have a connect with that bird on our balcony, that butterfly which goes by, the stray dog which just goes by and just looks at you. I'm sure you all have a look of some animal. So coming back coming to this, before I start the session, I really like you all to appreciate the fact that she's absolutely right to say this ownership is, we can't own anybody. And maybe the other, the pet has come into our lives. The soul which is coming is even more wiser. And let's start listening to the guidance and wisdom of these animals. And this is all the session is about, to start moving the human perspective to an animal perspective. So that's what my sessions are going to be about. I'm going to start with basics for people, who really may not be aware of animal communication. Then I'll take you through what all and how it happens. Because each one of us, please remember on this session, I want to tell you all that we are born animal communicators. It's just that we don't know how to communicate. Fundamentally, let's get it clear that man is an animal. Okay. So if you can communicate with a man, animal is, the communication is so easy. It's just that we don't use that muscle which we have. And that's what I'm going to take you through this journey. So coming to the basics, let's start. Animal communication. Animal is any animal. Could be an elephant, tiger, lizard, ant. It could be the little worms in the land. It could be the tree. So it's animal communication is also about, once you know animal communication, most of us who have these green fingers and we say we have plants actually are talking to the plants. Okay. We're talking to the ground, because they're all animals and insects. It is live, it's living. So coming back to animals, it's anything on the planet is an animal, right? Communication, as the word says, is a sender and a receiver, like we are communicating. So I want you all to get that clear, that it is also, the communication is a two-way process. It's not a single process. So like we are talking, there's a sender, receiver, and there will be a communication happening. It's a dialogue, okay? So all this time, we may feel as pet owners that, oh, we communicate, we are pet lovers, we do everything, but we are not getting a feedback, and we're not listening to the pets. So today's session is more about opening up those little things about how do we start. Many of us would be, but we assume it and we feel, kaise hota hai? May not be possible. So that's animal and communication. Now, what do I do? What's my role? Okay, what does an animal communicator do? So basically, like this laptop or your phone is, the medium between, you and me. I become a medium, a conduit, or a translator, interpreter between the two of you. Actually, you all don't need me, but when we struggle to understand what the animal is saying, you come to us. And the moment we get exposed to what is a look, what is a feeling, we don't need anyone. Okay. So I also want to tell you that animal communication basically is telepathy. Telepathy, as the word says, is a distance animal communication. Because, and now you'll ask me how, that I'll take you through as I move ahead. So telepathic is the gut feel, so it's all energy transfer. How does an animal, how does Ditto, for example, spoke to me? The first time I spoke to Ditto and I said, hey, how are you? He said, I'm very well. I'm absolutely fine. She needs help, not me. So being Ditto and Anjali here, I'm going to take the liberty to take a lot of examples of Ditto, because Ditto, I have invited him to be here. I must tell you that communication happens after they transcend, because it's a soul connect. And animals they're called the pet angel communication. So they are around. So whenever you want to say hi to them, they come around. And Ditto has been invited. I took his permission to say, can I have you here? And so I'm going to be once in over 2 ways. I mean, I just try to bring some examples. So when I asked Ditto, I said, what's wrong with you? You're saying you're very ill. He said, I'm absolutely fine. And I'm on top of the world. She needs help. So I said, okay. So that's how I started my conversation. Anjali, what's wrong with you? So she did, it all just started moving into a session. So I'm not going to go into the details just now, but the fact is, animals come into our life for a purpose. We all know it, but we try to push it to the back. What we need to understand is, let me try to explain to you that the cases which come to me, why do we need an animal communication? Okay, so what is my role? So I have cases like a parent who says, I really want to understand what this dog is feeling and the cat is feeling, and that's exactly why I was searching for why I wanted to know what my dog and cat are feeling. So I searched for that for no other reason, but just to feel the good. So there are many parents who want to understand their pets better. So they come to you, they reach out to you. Many pet parents, as Anjali said, who have been pet parents for years but can't figure out, but this was not how my earlier pet behaved. This one is aggressive, is attacking. So there's a behavioral change happening. Then to identify and understand why is this change happening is one kind of parents. There could be also illness which has suddenly happened, and parents don't know what, like Anjali said, medical, and it was not sinking in. So what is it that they are missing out on? You know, for example, it could be just having loose motion. It's just like our own human children. When you before an exam, they stress out, they have anxiety, and then the pattern of your child. That okay, before an exam, he's going to vomit or he's not going to eat. So an animal also goes through those kind of things. So to help parents understand there is an anxiety happening, there's a stress happening. Okay, so there are one set of parents. The second set of clients I have are who are transitioning. They're senior citizens and they don't know whether to put them down to sleep, or the doctor says, the vet says there's so much pain. So we get into that communication, that what does the animal really want? What does he want? There are third cases of strays and adoption, fostering. Does that animal really want to go into that house? So now we are because of animal communication, the sensitivities happen because 80% of people who are fosterers or into adoption, 80% of the animals are either running away or getting lost from the cases. So when you start talking to them, they'll say, we don't want to go here. We're very happy on the streets. We are very happy without a leash. We are very happy, rolling on the ground. Why are you adopting? Why are you giving us a home? So there are cases like that, which we try to help out shelters. And then there's another case, which is about the lost and the missing animals. Why are animals getting lost? And then how to help them come back if they want to come back. So many animals, say that my journey with this human is over. I don't want anymore. They don't respect me. They don't love me. So just like this, I coming back to what Anjali said, you can't own them and you start treating them. You have a leash and you think your dog and cat is going to behave. So it's the same thing. How long can the dog be on a leash? So it's about, that leash is just another metaphor. It is just for maybe the social norms to make sure that, when we walk down a lift or live in a flat, we just have a leash. But fundamentally, you can't, have a pet. You can't just train and say that he'll behave himself because he's to be trained. That takes me to another part. Sorry, Anjali. Yeah, you want to come in?
Own the soul.
Yeah.
I said you can't own the soul.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So coming further into this, so there are things like, actually, there's a parallel between the human and the pets, because they have stages of development too. So just the same little pup, which was, you cuddled and you felt very good, after 2 years doesn't want to come to you, just like your own child, and we forget that, and then pushes you away, or growls at you, starts attacking you. We have to understand that they also have their own, they need their space, they need their own growth, and they're here for a purpose. So they have come into our life for a purpose, and the earlier we try to understand that, we try to make our lives better. Now, coming to I like to share with you that there are cases which, most of my cases where behavioral happens, and I'm into one just now, is our pet was absolutely fine, and now he's biting, itching, all the time. The skin infection is happening, or he's biting into shoes, he's biting into the best sofas or the wood. So when I talk to the animals and they say that, no, I'm not doing anything like that, she's not listening to me. So listening to me means a human is not listening to you. Itching, biting, barking are all metaphors, and that's one way of communication. So if you have a teenager or if you have a child and he doesn't upset about something, he'll cry, he'll throw a tantrum. A teenager will close the door. He may not answer your calls. He may back answer you. What does a pet do? So to get your attention to something which is happening at home, to the human. So many cases have happened where itching is the couple want to go for a vacation. I'm itching to go for I want itching to get married. I'm itching to leave my partner. I'm itching to write a book and I'm itching to change my job. So when you start talking to the human, then the human starts saying, yes, I am going through that. So the dog is trying to tell him that take that step, go ahead and do it. Itching is also, sorry, skin infection. Nowadays, most, if you go to a vet and you do a little analysis, or you come to, most animals are getting a skin infection. So the skin infection is nothing to do with, uh, it's not really a physical problem. It's a problem of, itching, the same thing I'm saying, the pain, trying to tell you that something is not in sync with the environment. So the wake up, human, wake up. Attacking, I just had a case where a dog, the parents got in touch with me and said that this particular dog, the moment somebody enters, a particular friend, the dog keeps barking. And the fourth or fifth time, he bit the person, the lady, young lady in the house. So when we got into a conversation, we realized that the dog would bark the first time, second time, non-stop, but the human would take the dog and put it in the room or lock the door and say, behave yourself, behave yourself. But the fourth time when the pet came and he attacked, and that's how they got in touch with me to understand what is happening. The dog said that the lady who comes in has no very good intentions. And then they realized that she was very interested in the man of the house. And the lady said, I was sensing it. I had a sixth sense. And we saved the situation. So most of the cases, like I have a case, many cases in Singapore, which the dog started attacking the maid, who's to take the maid would take for the walk. Both the parents were working. And so one day the dog told me that, no, tell her to come back home. Tell her. So I called this lady home and I said, you come back home because the dog is saying, come back home. So she came back home and her maid was having fun with the driver who would come back home. So basically, the animals are trying to protect you. Animals tell you about somebody who's got not the right intentions, because everything is about energy. And if they care for you, they'll protect you but it's for the parents to come reach out and, I have another case, Anjali, which you like, when you said about the soul, it reminded me that this particular, and she is also a friend, and she says, and she loves wearing shoes. And she said, first 10 pairs of the best expensive shoes the dog bit. So when I went into a communication with her, please understand how the communication works. I'll ask the dog, your parent is complaining about the shoes. Why are you biting her favorite shoes? So she says, she needs to be on the ground. She is all the time on the move. So I said, what do you do? So what is the problem? So I asked her. She said, yes, I'm always out. She would go out often. And she has a daughter who's 8, 9 years old, and she would just leave and go a little bit more, external, social. And she said she needs to calm down and not leave the home. And over the conversation, we realized that she was going through a difficult time in her own personal life. And the foot was trying to tell her, take charge of not only your feet, but also the soul, the soul. So he was trying to convey to her, she was going out, going for a drink, going out in the evening, just to keep herself busy. But he wanted to tell her that her daughter is not, she's not doing the right thing. So every time a new shoe came or a matching shoe came or a social, he would bite the shoe, that she cannot leave the home. So when we started speaking, then she broke out and she says, yes, I'm going through a very difficult time. And so then we started talking to the dog, and she started taking charge of her daughter and, staying at home more often. And it's a very, very basic things, So the shoe, it took me some time to understand what is he trying to say, why the shoe. So he kept saying the soul, the soul. So I thought the soul, of course, SOLE, but I couldn't connect it with the SOUL. But then when we started doing the journey, and sessions it takes about 24, 48 hours sometimes. So let me tell you how it happens. Like Anjali may have more visuals. See, we have the gateways, our sense organs, okay? So many can do, the animal shows you visions. For me, it is more of praises. So you'd ask him, okay, what do you mean by that? Then the animal will tell you. Then you go back to the human and say, is there something happening in the animal will validate. See, there has to be a complete transparency. It's a confidentiality. Of course, all cases are confidential, but the fundamental thing here is each animal communicator has a different way of, whichever is your strength. But the most important muscle is the gut, the telepathy. So that's where we have to all activate our telepathic, the sense, which is what animal communication is mostly about. So I may, as an animal communicator, give you something. Anjali may say, he's feeling that. So when you put, when we go to animal communicators these days, there is a lot of competition going on, and we say don't compete, because a person comes to me and says, but that communicator said that. So I said, listen, take it. It's like, we are getting different shades, which is like a cues of a jigsaw puzzle, and then you put the picture together. But what happens is, like for me, I will get a vision, but I'll also get the feeling, but it takes some time. So, for example, lost cases. I'm in a lost case just now, and the dog is saying that I'm near. I'm near some. The dog will define I'm near a water body. I'm near somebody who's. So, like Anjali will share with you. So Anjali will get a vision of a blue gate and something. I don't usually get it. I get just a look, and where and what is the description of the human being with whom the animal is. So when we look for a lost case, or we are taking care of a missing animal, we basically ask for location. We don't promise you that you will get your pet back. And believe me, when we talk to most of the pets, they say that we'll come back. We will come back, and we will try to, we will, if required, she has to change. She has to maybe kind of, what do you call, there has to be a change in the environment. There has to be a change in the commitments to be able to, for me to come back, because I'm not happy about something. So most of the time, we always take permission. We take permission about, what do you call, can I take you to the vet? Can I neuter you? Neutering, for example, it's a body part of the animal. We don't have a right about their body. So most parents will just go about and say that, let's get neutered. It's time to get neutered. We don't have babies. But at least ask. Some cats say, I want to become a mother. Give me a chance once. So what happens is, if you have noticed, many breeds, many breeds, many breeds will say that, if you neuter them, they get more and more aggressive. So it is better to take permission, tell them why you're neutering the dog, and then go ahead with this surgery. Yeah, Anjali, you want to come in at this stage?
Well, Nilu, when you mentioned about
any question, any question at this stage, yeah.
Nobody's sent any questions.
Go ahead, I can move ahead.
What was new to me actually with animal communication was permission from the pet. Taking permission from the pet. I never did that before. I never did that with Shiba. I never did that with Solo. I tended to take decisions without asking them. So that's been that was a huge switch for me with the third, with the Dits, when Dits started feeling unwell.
Yeah.
I would always, before I gave him a bath or before I did anything, would you like to do this? Would you like to do that? I started actually taking his, otherwise I would make most of the decisions. So that was completely new to me when I ventured into this, into animal communication, and I started reading about it. And when you told me, take his permission or tell him or inform him. So that was, so if we've got, I don't know how many pet parents we've got in the group, but that is something one should definitely start, especially if you're making any decisions, if you're traveling, communicate that with your pet, say that this is what I'm planning, these are the number of dates I'm going out for. I hope it's okay.
It's very, yeah.
That's, one doesn't realize how sensitive they are to your emotions and to what's going on. It's actually amazing. It's amazing what they pick up, whether it's anxiety, whether it's being I mean, I'm going to share something very, very personal right now. And when Ditto actually started falling ill, I was at that stage. All of us have been through COVID. All of us have been trapped in an environment where we've really not been able to go out, which was new to all of us, because we're working. You go out, you come back. The other things you're exposed to. Suddenly, the COVID put us all into one. I mean, I live in a joint family, though we live separately, but we have our own units. But there was a lot of internal engagement, and there was some confusion going on in the house, and I was very upset about it. And I felt trapped in a way, because I had another place to go to, which was one of the first things. In fact, Nilu asked me. She says, "You're right now. You're feeling trapped, and you've got this other home. Why don't you just take Ditto there, de-stress, and come back, and then start seeing what he has to say to you?" And every time I would go to my Gurgaon place, I found a huge change of energies with Ditto. And he was 15. He was 15 and a half. So a lot of it was also age related with him. But till then, I never really realized the deep connection, because the way I was with him never really changed, in the sense of taking care of him, the love, that never changed. That never changed whether I was in Scenic Farms, or that never changed when I went to my flat in Gurgaon. So the engagement, the level of engagement with the Ditto always remained the same. So the change was actually, when Nilu pointed it out, she says there's actually nothing wrong with him. What are you going through? What are you going through? So when I started, and I said the illness he had was actually pain-free. It was absolutely pain-free. But his symptoms of being uncomfortable and like crying was disturbing me. And I didn't know that there was a link in what I was going through. And he was just mirroring, what we call mirroring.
Yes.
He was just mirroring what I was going through, but I was not. We're taught, we said, okay, fine, ignore. Don't. Sometimes you can't address issues because there's so many energies involved. I've got old parents. I couldn't just pack my bags and say, bye-bye. Just trying to balance everything in the house and saying, okay, fine, things will go on well, things will settle down, without realizing that actually, so it was Ditto who actually made me spend more and more time in my apartment. And he told Nilu, he says, she has a place, make her go there. And, I'm being really honest. I mean, till actually Nilu started saying things, because she knew nothing about me. She knew zero. She knew zero about me personally. So suddenly this person sitting in Bangalore is saying these things. And I said, I mean, I was going to say the F word, but
Yeah, I
I
know.
wouldn't use it. But I said, how the hell does she know sitting over there
Yeah.
what's going on, and that I have this place, and it has to be, the medium has to be Ditto who's talking to and saying, okay, fine, move your butt, pack your bags, go there for a week, come back, and start living for yourself. Take time off. Don't feel guilty about taking time off. Start looking after yourself. And the way his final, I think 4 or 5 months,
Amazing.
I
Yeah.
can't even begin to explain to you what it was. I can't, his discomfort went. He changed me. I started letting go a lot of things. I started becoming less anxious, and I started, I wouldn't say disconnecting, but I would disengage. That's going on. There's very little I can do to change that situation. And one of my big learnings in this also, Nilu, which you helped me a lot, was when don't give advice till person is willing to receive.
Yeah.
So you must be open to receiving. Only then will you be able to change. So a lot of us tend to give advice. I think we should stop doing that. Just observe and figure out when the person is in a position to receive. Only then. Only then. So one of the ground rules over here in animal communication is you need permission from the parent, number one, and the pet. The pet can also refuse to communicate with you. I mean, it can be a complete wall, which
No, not
you
only a wall, Anjali. The animal, because protects the human, and if you have not taken the permission, can tell you false information.
can give you false information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not
So
that I can pick up in my neighbor and I know there's a problem happening, a fight happening. No, the animal will just give me wrong
yeah,
information and
yeah.
will just tell me, how dare you come into my space without permission.
So for me, the last, I think he gave us, he made sure. Nilu said he's not going to, when I lost my second dog Solo, my second bacha, I became a vet. I went to the vet for nearly 2.5 years because I couldn't go back home. That gap between 6 to 8, that I used to take Solo for a walk, I just couldn't go back home and ring the bell because I never had to ring the bell when I reached the house. The dog would know and the door would be open, and I never had to ring the bell. So those 2 hours were like crazy. So I did the medical aspect of veterinary, and then I think Ditto came in to teach me the
Non.
non. I mean,
So here I want to come in, Anjali. So I
huh?
think you're forgetting a couple. I want to come in here because you're forgetting a couple of things. You know
Huh?
what he told me was that she needs to be independent. Since the
Yeah,
case is, we're discussing this case, and I will not leave her and go till she decides to be independent.
yeah,
Every weekend he went her, she did up the house. He used to love the music. They started listening to music, lighting their own diyas, the space. And every time he would come back charged. And more importantly, what I remember, he asked me one day, I like to meet somebody very, very important. If you remember Anjali, and that was a very important thing. So I said, Anjali, he will not die because we thought he is going. And this is when she got in touch with me was September, October, and he died in April, if I'm not mistaken.
May 27th.
April 7th. And she came to me in September end, if I'm not mistaken, the second COVID round. So
Yeah,
why I want to share this with it, he had told me, I'm going, I'm dying, but she has to take these decisions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the case was so live because this guy would just nonstop talk to me. And one day he said, after a week, he said, I want to meet somebody. And that's when you got some friends, and the whole journey started. And one by one, all her family came. And where the disconnect was, I think they started coming together because of Ditto. There was a stage when they all came to meet Ditto, one after the other. And he was having a ball because he just wanted to have a party time. He was not going. He had 2 months to go.
Yeah.
But he got the whole, all of them together. And the fact that Anjali started feeling that she's not the married one, she has to carry the guilt of carrying on her parents, she started moving. And the day she decided, I think she will now acknowledge that her parents are spending more time, and I mean, they're on their own journey of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I
this
mean,
is one of the case studies. But Anjali, I want to also add here, if can I come in? Because Anjali made a comment on mirroring. Mirroring is like what she said, the animal mirrors you identically. Okay, so if you are going through crisis and anxiety, he will start copying you to make you feel, oh my God, why are you troubling me? But actually, you are looking the same. It's very, very few friends and people who can actually mirror you and tell you how you're looking. So when you're looking at a mirror and if you have a black patch, you don't clean the mirror, you clean your thing. So you sort out yourself. So that's one aspect. The second aspect is called take on. So take on is when I have most animals, and in COVID cases, COVID times, it's been seen that, if they are struggling with illnesses, even cancer, heart, diabetes, sugar, the, the animal will take it on. It's like
yeah.
a vacuum, he'll pull it on. He'll take all the illness. It's happened to us, to me, my own sub coach, suddenly in weeks' time, he suddenly collapsed and he was gone. And we couldn't handle it. And we were very close to him, though, of course, he was 11-year-old golden retriever. But when I got my communication done from my teacher, Manjari, I think both our teachers, Anjali and Anjali and mine, which is, I think we owe a lot to her because she's such a beautiful, simple, transparent teacher. She told me that, he was, my husband, my mother-in-law was going through some heart issues. And uh, he took it on because he said my husband was not ready to a loss of a parent. So the loss, he took it on, and then Krish went through this journey, my husband, and then, mother went completely free of heart issues. There was zero problem on the heart, and he went. So that happened in 2018, and my father-in-law passed away last year. So it's and my mother-in-law who had the issues still with us. She's 93. So where I'm coming from is it helped him to go through the churning of his own soul journey or a spiritual journey. So, most of us, when you look back, I'm sure before I started the session, Renuka did mention that, she's a pet parent, and I'm sure you would go back and see that many, many incidences in your life that, I find pet parents, they love their animals, they fondle them, and, but, I would just, maybe you started looking at them, that you don't put your feet on your animals. They're also souls, they just have a body of a dog, but they need the love and respect, and all of them, let me tell you, that all have the same chakras. Okay, we have the same chakra, they have a Muladhara, they have a Sahasranam, they have everything the same. They actually have 8 chakras.
They have
eight chakras on the shoulder, and that's why when a dog loves to be rubbed. So here, Anjali, do you want to come in? You say something here.
No. I was saying the 8
Okay.
chakras basically between compassion, between
the human
the
and
animal
the
human.
So there's a lot of body of work done on just a second. Okay, just a second.
Anjali, I had sent 2 questions in.
Okay, just a second. Let me just.
Yeah, sorry. So I was just saying about the chakras, and a lot of work has been done on this. There's a lot of work on the, all this holistic treatment of.
I've got no questions in.
Sorry.
A direct message I sent you. If you want, I'll read it out. There are 2 short questions. It came to
No,
you.
so let me just.
Oh, it went to
Okay.
Nilu. Oh, pardon. I'll send it to
So
you.
coming to this point of, these days, most of us are in this business of outsourcing. We have a dog walker, we have a groomer, it's all for convenience, but that was for some reasons. But the joy of taking your dog for a walk, it is meditative. It is spiritual. When you walk your dog, you have the energy exchange which is happening. You are having a connect. It's just the same thing like your own kid, okay, the maid can take your kid on a pram, but how do you develop that, the bond? For the animal, it's the same thing. Like Sabkuch would walk, I would walk Sabkuch with such pride. He would feel so happy. More importantly, I realized that that was my quality time, and that was the best time I would have when I walked my dog. And he would like to sit on the grass. I didn't know all this. This is not known to me, but we would sit in the grass, just sit and look at the butterflies, sit on the ground. And today, when I look back at animal communication and what I have heard, I hear that, that it's called grounding. Animals require the all energies, the magnetic field from that what heals them. Yeah. And it was healing me too. He would say, relax, relax, because I was a super multitasker, efficient woman. But thanks to Sabkuch, that I started learning, and to my cat, of course, who would, stop us from doing work, come in now, sit on the laptop. So where I'm coming from is, each of us have to start with, when you bathe your pets, that the joy of just the touch and the skin is a healing. It's healing for you, not for the pet, but even for you, So it's really, really good to have, to be everything, try to do everything on your own. And I think listening to the pets, they are always talking to you. Now you can say, how can I talk? I don't know what will my animal say. Believe me, when you throw every problem, what we go through personally, professionally, financially, at work, with the boss, you just talk to them like a friend, or you talk to them like, we all have a different relationship with our, so you talk to them like a friend or like a child, and say, I'm struggling with this. Believe me, when you do that, you will find a song playing, or when you switch on the TV, you will find the answer coming to you, or you will have, when you open the newspaper, you'll get the answer there. So who's this, Renuka? What's the name of this little baby? Sasha.
Sasha, yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Sasha. Sasha, your mama is forcing you to come to the Zoom session. Yeah, I have better things to do. Why is she insisting?
Sarah
Okay.
has shared a photograph. Would you mind please sharing it? I had shared a picture with you. Renuka, what's her name? Dorcas, I had shared a photograph. Would you mind screen sharing that? Oh, Sarah is showing us her dog. Hi,
Hi,
Sarah.
Sarah. What is the name of your baby?
It's Misha.
Misha. Anyway, I just also want to say that most animals, we know we call them our babies and cuddle, but they don't like it because maybe many of them are even wiser than us, and in our karmic connections have a different, so we don't know what they are. So, we have to realize oh my God. My God, you're looking and listening. I'm not telling anything wrong, isn't it? Isn't it? Tell your mama that this is the right thing. Oh, I love you for this expression.
I know, just look at it.
Send her the second one if you can. I just put another one up.
Oh my God.
There was
This is
another
beautiful, Anjali.
Yeah.
one. Sorry.
I think he's fully in concentration of
He's
the
now gone to
conversation.
sleep. He's gone to sleep now.
No, he's trying to tell you that, this sounds correct.
Yeah. He likes the noise. He likes, and he's with his mummy, you see.
Oh, beautiful.
So, also when we adopt, I want to bring in here that, animals choose us. And very, very many a time you would have heard that the animal has run away or has gone away because the animal also doesn't like the energies of the family. That's why we say that not only do we choose, but we also must let the animal choose us. And people come into saying that we need our pets to be trained. we like to mention that it's the humans who need to be trained how to let the animals be themselves. So we need to get trained where, what is it that we want? Do we want our dog to say, hello and paw? Why? What is the reason? It's the same thing like telling our kids, poem sunado for the social thing. A dog is a dog in that perspective. So, let's all of us here try to see the perspective of the
Can I just jump
animal.
in there?
Please, Sarah. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a bit space cadet. I have a migraine. Anyway,
It's okay. It's nice to have you
I am
here.
sitting on my bed with my dog. Anyway, I had a dog, Baloo. Everybody on here knows Baloo. Baloo was in Bahrain. He was a therapy dog. He was a rescue, but he worked with autistic children. And when I first got him, he was 48 kilos. So the first job was to get him fit. So he went down to be a 27 beautiful chocolate lab. Anyway, by the by, Misha, darling Misha, I got Misha to be when Baloo retired, Misha was to be the next therapy dog. And I did lots of research because I was living in Bahrain. I thought I've got to get a really good dog because by this time Baloo had been allowed in schools and in hotels and whatever, but he wasn't allowed in public government schools. So I figured, right, yeah, okay, worked it all out. If I got a really good dog that I knew the whole history of, that maybe the government would allow a dog into a public school to be able to work with the children in the public school, because at the moment it's not happening. So anyway, I did all this 2 years of research. Got Misha, got lovely Misha, lovely Misha. Misha was a gorgeous dog. Misha will never ever be a therapy dog. He told me within the first, I got him at 4 months. He told me within seconds, I ain't been a therapy dog. And I spent a year trying to, he's going to be the therapy dog. He's definitely going to be the therapy dog. But what happened was I dropped a spoon on the floor in the kitchen and he shot out. And I've had a lot of dogs. I've had 60 odd dogs. I've rescued dogs. I'm like, I've never had a dog do this before. And I should have listened. I should have listened at that point. And I could do all the, all the theory and all that. Yeah. But he was basically saying, that's not my role in life. My role in life is to be with you, Mummy. And he's mummy's dog. He does not want to be.
No, actually, what Sarah is telling, what Bishu is telling at the moment is saying that she needs to be healed. So let's stop healing the world.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just like, actually, I need this dog, not the world. Exactly. But it took me a year to realize and to stop thinking it's gonna be the other dog. It's definitely gonna do it, because he is not the dog to do it. So anyway, that's my little story.
And it's very, very lovely for people who are now who have just adopted or taken a pet home, to realize it's so easy. Just like you bring up your children, you talk to them, tell them that you have your boundaries, that I don't like to come on the bed, I don't like to go on the kitchen. It's so easy, it is just the communication.
He is allowed on the bed, yes, okay.
Only when I'm saying
he's allowed on the bed, okay.
So where I'm coming from is that many, they listen, they respect your boundaries. They do, they know from where, what would you like. And if, so, it's, you don't need a trainer. You just need to follow your heart and listen to them. For example, sab kuch, when, my dog was sab kuch, and I like to just come in here that I never grew up with animals. And quickly, I think, are we in good time, Shireen? Are we in good time? What is the time?
4:30. We have another half an hour to an hour.
So I'll take another 5 minutes, Anjali. I like to share that, so so our son was 5 and a half plus, and one day he came and said, I want a sibling, but I don't want a younger sibling. I want an older sibling. And when I got married, I always wanted 3 children. And my husband said, no, it's okay. And I got married late. But the fact is, so the only option was, we said, okay, a pet. He said, yeah, a pet. And the way it all happened was also beautifully that Sab Kuch chose us. He came and sat on my son's foot. It was a litter of, we were in Chennai, and it was a very small flat, but I just got a call. I was going through this guilt of, am I doing the right thing to not give my son a sibling? And I was going through a whole set of chatting with friends. And then I said, okay, a pet. And a friend of mine called me one Sunday morning early, and she said, this litter is ready to be, ready to adoption. Just come and see. And when we went, we were the first family to go. And the last little pup came in, and this lady said, listen, please don't, he's the weakest. Please take the best because you're the first family. But this little pup rolling went and sat on my son's foot. And that moment, Vishnu is my son, and he said, Mama, this is sab kuch for me, and ye mere liye sab kuch hai, and I'm going to take it. And that's how it happened. And I'm so glad, because it's the best thing in our life. Sab kuch was a soulmate for my husband. For me, he changed my life completely, in the sense that, I started going to the vets. I'm a very talkative kind of, I'd given up my job at that time. I would talk to him and say, Vishnu, aise karta hai, ye karta hai, dekho, veko. It was like, and we were in Chennai where there was no school bus. So I would take him to drop my son, pick my son. And there was so much being shared. I didn't realize that I was communicating. But more importantly, what happened was that at the vet, I met the nicest people. At the walks, I met the nicest friends of my life I've made.
Yeah.
You can't even imagine. I moved to Bangalore to a complex where there were only 15 dogs. We have 2,000 flats where I live. Today there are 250. So I've got involved with, and I was talking to all of them. I never realized that it was just that active. Like, there's a friend of mine, I said, your dog's not looking well, take him to the vet. And she says, absolutely fine. What are you trying to say? And Sab Kuch would tell me, she's a stupid woman. Look at the way she's pulling him. He's not. And he collapsed and died the next day. So it was like, it was a sixth sense. We knew, and Sab Kuch would come and tell me, a poor guy, he's not looking well. Do something about him. So he was a pet who would not stop for a walk. But if he stopped, he was trying to give me a message. And I started listening to him very much, But coming to a point, 6 months later, while going for a walk, my husband and my son, we were all walking, and a little kitten was crying on the road, and my husband stopped, and this kitten came running to us with the dog. So he stopped with the dog, with Sab Kuch. So imagine the energies the dog was giving, and my son and me had gone ahead, and we lived in Chennai on the beach, basically. So the road, it was one of those busy days. And the kitten came and climbed up my husband, and we thought it's something. Can you imagine all this is happening in the middle of the road? The traffic has stopped because it was a beach corner. So, people were, it was a Sunday. I clearly remember it. And we picked up the kitten, kept it in the corner. She kept following us back home. And we didn't know what to do. She came home. And this golden retriever was so happy, but we, of course, in 24 hours, they became friends. I took him the next morning to the vet, saying what to do about this this kitten. And she says, I've never seen such a beautiful kitten, ma'am. I'll help you with training. Please keep the kitten. So that's why I got my 3 children, 3 species. And I spent the rest of 5 years of learning a cat, dog, and a human boy who was turning into a teen. So that's my journey and I think they've helped me to have a beautiful, it's been very spiritual, and it's helped me to bring up my human kid better, because every time I lost my cool, they both would come to protect me, or protect my son from me. And there've been many, many occasions where they have done things which are unbelievable, like My father was not well, and I had a sixth sense that my father's not going to live. But my mother said it's absolutely fine. He's gone for a checkup to the hospital. I was in Bangalore, and I called up my mother, and I was walking my Sabkuch in the evening, and Sabkuch would not move. So I asked Sabkuch, what should I do? Then I rang up the doctor, and doctor said, I'm not finding his eyes looking very good. So I said, should I come? And he says, my mother is saying, don't come. He says, I don't know, but if your gut feel says come, the doctor told me. And I looked at Subcoach and I said, okay, should I go? And then he got up. So I took the morning flight. I was in the ICU, and the father passed away. So my mother was under shock because it was just a checkup, which happened. But Subcoach made me go. So there are many, many, many incidences for me personally where I would say, in second opinion, I would just look and say, kya karu, and I would get the answer. But then we had a friend of ours who visited us, and he said, in this journey of life, I had 3-4 people in my own building who couldn't enter scared of a dog. Today, they all have dogs. I have 4 families who couldn't stand dogs, are all pet lovers because of Subcoach. But that's not the point. What happened was that, more importantly, we had a guest who came in, and whenever any guest came in, the dog would take one position and the cat would take the best chair, and they would be all sitting, because I would only put the rugs when guests came in, because they would all roll, and I would, one dog would enjoy rolling and there's a lot of hair. So this guest came in and he says, I can't believe it. They're communicating and they don't come, they don't beg, both are sitting quietly. And I would tell them, Sab kuch dekho, meet so and so, ye aaye hain Pune se, ye dekho mithai laye hain. And we would introduce them like normal people, like your own children. And then he said that, amazing, how are you doing it? So I said, but I don't know what he's feeling, He says, then you do the course in animal communication. So this happened in 2017, and we took the next flight. We called up and we found we had seats. We went and did the course. And then when we did the course, we realized that we were all the time doing animal communication, but we never knew that this is what animal communication was about. Of course, then we learned the ropes and we started becoming more aware. And I thought I'll never, ever become an animal communicator. It was just for my children and it was for fun. But a week later, I saw a friend of mine just posted on our, in my alumni group, a missing dog. And I said, forget it, I'm just, and the dog woke me up at night at 11. This happened at 9:30. At 11, he woke me up and said, please help me. I'll tell you where I am. Please help me. And this is a case which had already happened 5 days ago. But the poster was getting posted. And I said, okay. So at 11:30, I wake up the parent and I said, your dog is saying that he's in near a wall. Did he run from a place across the road? He says it was a wet place and my driver took him and he got petrified and he ran. And then I said, in the morning, can you please go when it's dusk? There's a wall and he's sitting there. It was the 7th day already. And they climbed up the wall, and the dog the strays had chased him, and with the fright, he had jumped over a wall, which is near the wet place. And when they reached the dog, he was with maggots. And one more day delayed, he got died, and they came. So it was a shock to me that how it really happened, So and then of course I went and met the dog, because for me that was my first case, and it was amazing, because after that the dog told me many things, that the driver would hit him. And he didn't like the driver, and he brought notice about a lot of issues which are happening at home because of the driver, and they're extremely known family, and they were 5 drivers, 4 drivers, but this particular driver would hit him and not like him, and so he was scared. So that's how the whole thing started for me. That when you do a missing case and a person follows the cues, and so that happened like that, so it started with actually a lot of missing cases, cats, who said that I'm waiting and I can see the house. And there's a cat who, one of my first cases was this lady, the person called me and he said, I've heard about you, ma'am, but it's 3 days ago, my cat, while taking on the 2-wheeler at the signal, which is about 2 kilometers from home, the basket opened and the cat ran out. So ma'am, please help us, because I really, the cat meant a lot to me. So the cat told me that I'm on the left side, there's a construction, there's a 5 houses, something I can't even remember, green, blue, and I said, you keep going. That day he walked up and down, and somebody said, we saw your cat. I've even fed your cat. And this is also, again, 3-4 days had gone. And then that morning I woke him up at 5. I said, you please go back and walk up and down about 10-15 times. And he made him do that the whole day. The next morning, he came home and he was going to call me. I have his testimony. And he said that he was going to call me and say, ma'am, I can't do it anymore. I'm a working man. I've taken 2 days off. And the moment he was typing, the cat came in from the window. He followed him the whole way, 2 kilometers in a unknown place. So the 2 days effort, because again, animals follow the energy. They can smell the animal, and intentions are very important. So if you're doing something with a good intention, the animals, and if they want to come. I mean, for me, it was like, what am I doing? I'm not some kind of a horoscope astrologer or something like that, because I was just telling the man what exactly the word. And most parents, not most, many doubted, because what happens is sometimes an animal will say, I can see a blue building, and then suddenly he'll say, I can see a tree. And the animal, these human beings will yell at you and say, what do you think you are? But I'm trying to tell them the animal is turning his head and showing me both. Can you just put all the jigsaw, put your cues for everybody? Even if there are 5 animal communicators talking, nobody tells lies. I have to tell you all here that animals don't tell lies. It's how we interpret what they are saying. So to Anjali, if somebody tells, the animal may say that, I'm not feeling well. But to me, he can say that I don't want to go to the vet. So you have to put both the sentences together and try to figure out. And that interpretation is when we all come in. But nobody is wrong, because the animal will never tell the lies.
Renuka has shared 3 beautiful pictures of her time with her pets. Dorcas, would you mind screen sharing the 3 I shared with you, please? Thank you.
Yeah, you can also show my Sab Kuch and Kuch Bhi, because I'm all gratitude to them. And ditto, of course. First ditto. Oh my God.
Yeah.
How beautiful.
Oh, lovely.
That was their birthday.
They are
So,
twins. Twins means they are the same sibling, the same litter.
litter, yes. And the boy was like the runt of the litter, like your Sabkuch. He was the weakest, was so scared of everything. But now I told my house help, just give him so much love that he overcomes it. And
How
he is a
lovely.
brave boy now. Yeah, he's a brave boy.
Let's say ditto. We should also say hi to Ditto, because Ditto was extremely, he even told me one day that tell Anjali not to be friendly with XYZ. And she said, bullshit. So I said, well, I don't know. This is exactly what your pet is saying. And like, I felt I'm crossing the boundaries, but that's Ditto. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Ditto.
And Ditto also told me that, tell her that I'll, to look after some kittens and cats who come. And immediately after he went, there was a kitten who came into his house. I mean, it is unbelievable how Anjali taking care of those cats. This is Ditto. Hey, Ditto. He looks so young, Anjali. Doesn't look like 15.
Yeah. He was actually, I used to call him my Buddha.
Yes.
His temperament was so
sweet,
beautiful.
so sweet.
Absolutely beautiful. He was one of very, very peaceful dog, very loved.
And he died also in few seconds. They picked him up and brought him in the lawn, and he was gone.
Anjali, don't know. I'm so glad I met Ditto.
I know, madam. He was my God.
Shireen, I don't mind if you show Sab Kuch and Kuch Bhi also, because that will be, because of them, I am in what I am doing today.
Dorcas?
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
This is how she would, the day I was tired, she would come and put her head saying, don't worry, I'm with you. This is how she would groom Sab Kuch.
Hmm. So cute.
This is the day Sab Kuch was going, she knew. She came and just sat next to him, and the next morning he was gone. It was too much of a shock for us, but she knew. She knew. The animal knows. This was Sab Kuch. She would look. This is a day when I had to rush to my son was studying in Manipal, and he had broken his leg, and I had rushed because the doctor asked me to come the hospital. My husband was telling him about Sab Kuch, and this is the look.
Mhm.
Such a wise look.
Oh.
That was my most big, the chair. If you can sit, if any visitor came, that was her throne. She had to sit on that. So one chair would go for her. At the background, you can see the king chair. This is how she would be. We would tell her, like, can you make place for us to sit? But this is also one of the ways to wait. Listening to what's happening at home, I would be telling her, I'm worried about Vishnu, I'm worried about myself, and then she.
Actually, I don't know, Nilu, whether you took Hila's permission. Did you take a permission to discuss the case?
No, I haven't. I don't know whether she's here also.
Because that has been an amazing study for me.
Yeah. We can talk a little bit about it. Is she there on the group? I don't think she's there, but without taking a name, you can share a little bit how beautiful it has been.
Yeah. So this was actually a case of
1 minute,
a
Anjali. I want to show this picture. I want to show the last one, please, Shireen.
Okay.
Yeah. So when Sab Kuch died that night, this is how Kuch Bhi for 4 days grieved for him. And then she jumped up the next morning and made me get up at 4 saying, get up. So I said, I don't have to go for a walk. I'm not upset. But she would make me get up. You get up. You can't be lazy. And if the bell would ring, she would start running, like Sab Kuch would run to the door. Otherwise, she was a queen. She would never come out. So she just decided to take charge of the house. Sorry. Yeah.
No problem.
We can switch off the
come or not.
screen sharing. Anjali, you were talking about this case. We can stop the screen share. Thank you so much.
So this is just a case I'd like to share because I've known the family for a very, very long time. And it was a behavior problem. It was a behavior issue. And I happened to be in the house when the first attack actually happened. And being a communicator,
It's a cat. It's a cat.
I could, pick it up immediately. And I said I wouldn't like to get personally involved because I knew the family. So it was basically a family whose son adopted a cat, brought the cat into the house, and then decided, since the cat was lonely, to get another kitten in. And this is where, I mean, if you weren't a communicator, you wouldn't have also be, thinking of taking permission or asking the first cat whether I can bring another kitten in or not. So he goes and he brings the kitten in and he just introduces them, and there was a little apprehension. So I happened to land up on the second day and he says, this is what has happened and should I introduce them? I said, why aren't you introducing them? He says, no, because I think they won't get on. I said, is that your perception or you think that they won't get on? So I said, your energy transfer, that you're presuming that they won't get on. Anyway, they got on. They got on famously. But day 3, what started happening was actually frightening. Because the first kitten started attacking, literally attacking. When I mean by attacking,
Yeah.
I mean attacking, biting the pet parent, the boy, and viciously attacking. And their first reaction was that it's this change of behavior has happened because the second cat has come in. Let me go and return the second cat. And I got a call. It must have been at about 6:15 in the morning. And I flipped. And I said, you can't return. Now the second cat has come into your life for a reason. And you can't just go and return the cat without finding out what the problem is. Because the two cats are getting on well, but he's attacking the owner. So the problem is not with the cats. The problem is with the pet parent. And this was when I said owner, because that's what they felt, that I owned, that this was my pet and I owned this pet. And how the hell is he now being aggressive towards me? So I won't get into too many details, but what has happened is actually what has transpired has been absolutely amazing for the family. For the family, for the child, for the parents. What the child has decided to share with the parents has been absolutely amazing. It's brought the whole family together. And when he actually picked up the first cat, he was, well, I could share it because that you'll understand the intensity of the situation. He had got out of rehab. And every time he was getting the urge, he used to be a little violent with the cat. So the cat forgave him. It was 2 years post that. But when the second one came in, it actually brought all those memories back. So he started attacking the pet parent because he didn't want the pet parent's behavior to be repeated. And the parents actually didn't know anything about this. So it's helped the boy heal. It's helped the boy share the intensity of what he went through rehab. And they've started communicating their feelings without him feeling ashamed. And I said, there's nothing for you to feel ashamed about because now you're recovering. And the more you talk about it. And what was shocking, I mean, the parents didn't know the intensity of his drug problem. And it was absolutely, I mean, now you actually see the family together, you won't even believe what they've been through in the past 3 months. So this was a typical change of a behavior, sudden change of behavior pattern from a very loving cat who turned aggressive literally within 24 hours.
So every time the younger one entered, when he was alone with the cat was okay because the older cat thought that he's going to now become violent with the younger one and he wanted to protect. And they thought that this older one is jealous of the younger one, but actually they was just fell in love with. They're beautiful.
And I kept on saying, I said, the problem is not with the cats. And Nilu, I mean, a minute I figured this out because, something like this, we know the family personally, it could create a lot of problems because there are a lot of truths that are coming out.
Yeah.
And they won't also take me as seriously. And I told Nilu and I told them, I said, let's create a WhatsApp group and include me in the group if you feel like it. If you feel like keeping me out of the group, keep me out of the group. I respect whatever decision you take. But for me, as a personal case study, it has been absolutely, I actually started going there and spending the whole day there. And I started asking the son questions. And he said, how do you know all this? I said, you tell me, how do I know all this? I mean,
that's off. I mean, and also the fact that The cat also had guidance and wisdom to
Yeah.
how the parents should deal with the situation, and also the boy of not to lose the cool and handle future of how to go about it. So that's where the you need to understand that the animal is guiding you, giving you solutions. You're not taking it.
Here the first reaction of the family was, all this happens in the second member has come in. Return the second pet.
Are we
Return.
moving to Q&As now?
Yeah, sure. I didn't know
Only
there's
that
some
I have
questionnaire.
submitted, the rest you can open it to the floor.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, Amela, I am not being able to, I'm not being able to see the question answers. I'm not being able to see the chat.
Out? Shall I read it out?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, please, please.
What is the language within quotes, language between you and the client, client within quotes?
So
Is
that
it
is
non-verbal
telepathy. It's a
cues?
gut. Pardon?
I mean, what I meant is the mode of communication. Is it, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you.
So that's what I said, that they are, we have, they're all our sense organs. Sometimes they show you a vision, and they show you a reaction. They'll show you terms saying, the language could be verbal. So it's just how you start listening to your heart. Like, as human parents, I could say that, when your child is ill and what is happening. So they start with that. And when you ask an animal something, when the human says, please talk to and please help me understand a problem, we talk to the animal, and the animal will give visions or will say some phrase or a word, or then we go back to the human, and the human will validate it and try to help us with more information. Then we go back to the animal and say, this is what your human is saying. And then we do a video call. So we do a video call when all the family is there. So that gives us credibility of what we are talking. And the animals also in the same conference call. And then you move to another level.
Okay. This is just another question that just struck my mind, because I see so much psychology that is being used. I mean, techniques and terminology like grounding, mirroring, holding space. Is in mainstream psychology as practiced between interpersonal relationships, would animal communicate? Have you all ever interfaced or involved yourselves in such therapy sessions?
Absolutely, absolutely. Actually, as we are going, let me be honest with you. We just are a hollow bone, and we just have to verbatim tell you what what the animal is saying. If we come in and we cannot come in with our ego or what our word says. So it's just like you have to practice it a lot. It's like a flute, So the more the hollower, the more the better the music. So we also have to learn. We are learning all the time. We are going for advanced courses, learning modalities, learning how to ask better questions. Because when you want an answer, you have to be very specifically asking a question. So so it's also the art of questioning, the art of listening, observing. You are, of course, as a parent and as a human being, you are a good, you can't give advice in theory. The moment you start doing that, the animal will shut up or will give you wrong information. So when you get into that mode, unless the animal says, please help my parent, please help my parent. For example, in Anjali's case, the boy said, I need help, because the father of the boy kept saying that he's a healer. And he said, this small kitten has brought negative energy into my house. And these are the words of the father. So I had to have a video call with them. And I said, this cat is actually bringing the whole family together. The kitten is bringing the family together. And the older cat is thanking the kitten. You all are not seeing the friendship between them. But you all are seeing that the third. So exactly. And now I'll come to another level, Anjali, where this cat kept telling me that you all are not open to have another person in your house.
The house.
And I told the boy said, I'm not going to get married now, and I can only get married to a girl who will get along with my mother. These are the exact words. And that was what the cat was trying to say. That nobody has to get used to it. The person who is already there has to adjust to it. It was so beautiful because the boy said, I can't look. I said, you need a relationship. You need to move. Your cat is telling you that you need a life. You're only with your parents. And then the mother has started a new job. This boy works. He doesn't get sleep. He tries to help his mother. And the cat kept saying, he needs sleep. He needs sleep. Don't disturb him. Tell the mother to be independent. Because if another woman gets married and comes in, the mother is going to be like this. And that's exactly what the older one was trying to mirror and tell us, that the mother is going to attack. The mother is going to attack a new person coming into the family. So let me take it to a different level. That was exactly the scenario, what was happening. The new kitten has come in. The older one is the husband, the boy may try to protect, but the mother, it's like the mother will be attacking the girl. So I think they are all healing, they are learning. And I think when the right time comes, a woman in his life will come in. And that's so beautiful, because if a woman would have got married and people have said, Arjun, usko shadi kara do, it would have been a mess.
Yeah.
It would have been horrible. So look at the healing, look at the wisdom, and look at how one little cat has brought so much of joy, that father who is a healer, imagine his words to say that this is negative energy. So for me, you can get involved emotionally into a case, but the moment I do that, Shireen, answering your question, I stop communication. I block my communication. The animal stops talking to me till I have to be, and I also have to learn to de-energize. I do get involved in many cases, very, very many cases, because then as I'm learning as a better animal communicator, I have to de-attach myself and not get emotional. So that's my learning of life, which anyway is a very spiritual learning. So this whole journey is very spiritual, and you have to be honest. The moment you're not honest, the animal also attacks the parent who does not walk the talk. So aggressive behavior, peeing, let me tell you, peeing is something where the animal is trying to say, stop peeing on others, or stop letting others pee on you. So if the dog or cat starts peeing in places on carpets and sofas, it may not be, like Anjali said, a physical issue but many a time it is a UTI. It could be a burning case, and 99% when an animal has a UTI, the human has a UTI.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. You can go take him to the vet and the vet will prove it to you. So the animal is helping the woman of the house to sustain the positivity by taking on the UTI, because UTI can be very, very, can be not only painful, can make you very cranky. And so the animals help you in the energy balance at home. After a point, they cannot.
My question was, when there is a therapy session, between a psychologist and the client, whether the communicator has also been called in to help or rather enhance the outcomes of it. That was what I wanted to find out.
So we don't do theory. We listen to the animals, what advice and guidance is, full stop. You don't have to be a psychologist or a consultant. Pure verbatim words of the animal, the wise wisdom of the animal.
No, I think you misunderstood me.
Sorry, yeah.
What I meant was, if I'm attending a therapy session and
Yeah.
my animal is, we're having a session with you, the animal is having a session with you, would you come in to my therapy session, or invited to help enhance that the therapy that I'm
Yeah,
having?
I am the communicator. I am the medium. So I will be talking to you and the animal. I'm the person who is going to help you. So, Shireen, for example, if you say that, my animal uh, um, for example, the cat is meowing a lot, and please help. Why is he suddenly started to meow, meow all the time? So I'll get both of you together and I'll say that, hey, your parent is saying that you're meowing a lot. What is the reason? And then the cat may say, for example, the case which is happening now, he says, I'm not meowing. There is smell. There is the litter pan is not cleaned. I don't know where to go. So when I ask, the parent will say, yes, I don't have a maid. I don't clean it. It could start with physical issues, Shireen. Is a question, am I understood it properly? So I have to be there with y'all.
Not exactly. What I meant was that what I'm asking is, say I am attending a psychology session with a therapist. Okay?
Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
so that's a separate session.
Oh, a human psychology session.
Yeah, I am doing it for myself. But then
Okay.
there are things you're seeing as an animal communicator between my pet and me. So to help my session, enhance my session with my therapist, have you ever been invited into that therapy session to give
No,
your
no, no,
perspectives? That's what I
no.
am.
But we have now we have been started invited by the vet doctors are inviting us, but not by a psychologist thing. I don't think so yet. But if the animal, if you reach out to me, say my animal is behaving differently, the animal will say that this is not the issue. She's not getting it right. Then I'll come to you and say, are you going through a session? Maybe you want to. This could be the problem, and you may not need you may not need your therapy session. Actually, your dog sitting at home can be your therapist.
Yeah, I was just going to say that when there is a change of behavior or an illness or anything, and if you're actually listening. So, when I said, when I contacted Nilu, I was ready to receive. So for
Yeah.
my therapist was ditto.
So the first
I was
call
ready.
after I spoke to Ditto, I have to tell you this. I remember, Anjali, we did a lot of WhatsApp calls, and the first call I made to her, and the friend who introduced me, she wanted him to the friend to be there, and I asked her 2 questions, and she just cried. She cried and she cried, Anjali, and I said, "What am I doing?" I was so shocked because, but animal said, let her cry. She's going to come out. She needs it. She needs it. You're on the right track. The animal kept telling me, you're on the right track. You go on, go on.
So if you actually listen, if you listen very carefully, and it's absolutely amazing, the energy exchange. You change. I mean, I've changed a lot. I worked on myself. I've worked on letting go. I worked on forgiveness. I worked on saying that that's an external issue which I cannot, though I'm not happy with the way it's going, but there is very little I can do to change that.
Acceptance.
Yeah,
And it was amazing because after he left, sorry,
by third party, it's I'm not even involved in that situation, but just being a part of it because I happen to be in the same staying in the same, it affects me. It affects me because it goes against your grain. It goes against a lot of your personal principles. But so I used to step in and try and sort things out. And now I don't, because you realize that the two other people involved have to work it out themselves. So all you can do is be there. So I worked on chakras. I personally read a lot more. And as I said, the huge difference for me personally, my journey has been not giving advice till you're actually asked for advice. So it helps you, change as a human.
Sarah, you want to say something?
No, I was just apparently I'm supposed to do the closing up thing. So I was
Okay.
about to give people a 5-minute warning.
Okay.
And Misha would like to give you a 5-minute warning. He's been dreaming. So we have a
So,
5
you know, like Anjali said, to put it in real words, uh, this is, animal communication, when you start getting sensitized to it, is just like normal breathing. It's just like you're breathing, it's become a part of our life. So animal communication, you will start sensitizing. Oh, what's he trying to say? Give it attention, give him attention. And actually, animal communication really helps you build a relationship first with yourself and then with your pets. And you can't be, you need to be transparent, number one. Number two, you have to be honest to yourself. Animals pick it up very fast. Any more questions? Otherwise, Sarah, we hand over to you, whatever you like. And
Unmute. Well, it's been very interesting. I came to having a dog when I first lived in Bahrain. I'm now in England. And the first dog I had was Jack. And boy, oh boy, did I need to learn to communicate with him, because he was a very disturbed dog. But I really do think it's very interesting to listen to what you have to say, because most dog owners don't know how to listen to their dogs, basically. And often the problems are not to do with the dogs. The person who can't interpret.
maybe here I like to come in, as Anjali also has mentioned, try not to use the word owner. Just try to say
Yeah,
your parent,
guardian, whatever, guardian, whatever.
because,
Shared space, partner, I don't care. I work in inclusion as an advocate for inclusion, so yeah. But anyway, the vast majority of problems that I encounter, it's not with the dog, it's with the person who shares the space with the dog, because they just haven't noticed. And often people will say, how did you know that, Sarah? It's obvious. It's obvious looking at the dog. Because like, what he's trying to tell you something. He's trying to tell you something. So anything we can do to help people to understand their dogs better and live in partnership with their dogs has to be applauded, because particularly at the moment with people with all their lockdown dogs, so many lockdown dogs who are in great difficulty because of the situation they find themselves in, nothing through no fault of their own. And in England in particular, there are a lot of difficulties with lockdown dogs, people who got a dog during lockdown and haven't got a clue what the dog is telling them or what their family is telling them. Yeah, so anything we can do to help that is great. It's been lovely to listen to your experiences. I'm particularly happy to hear that a vet is into this as well. That is amazing, because so many of the vets just give a pill and that's it, or there's nothing wrong with your dog. And recently with Misha, I knew there was something wrong, and he was trying to tell me. I'm not a communicator or anything like that, but because he kept leaving the room. He kept every time my husband he kept going out, and he was in pain. He had a problem with his foot, but we hadn't noticed it, and he would just leave the room. He would just go out, and it was like, he keep disappearing on me. And it took a lot of I could have done with you to tell me. You would have probably been able to speak to him and tell him the process a lot. Sorry. Anyway, thank you so much for spending the time with us. I'm sure you've been very helpful to many people, and I am sure in the future, hopefully, more people will start to listen to their dogs. So thank you very much.
And their cats.
And their cats. Well, yeah, I had a cat that was psychotic, but that's another story. It's really lovely to see everybody again. I'm sorry I haven't been. I've been ill. I've had COVID. It's just been a disaster. So yeah. And I think that's why as well my dog is being a bit, I want to be with mummy all the time, and which is good. All righty ho, I'm signing out. Anybody else want to say anything?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very enlightening. And as I said, it's about the understanding, and what Sarah was also saying, it's about just understanding it's another soul out there and beginning to believe. And I'll also echo Sarah's appreciation that the vets are taking it on and beginning to accept it as a part of their modality in healing. I think that's really great. Thank you, Anjali. Thank you, Nilu. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
Anjali.
much. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Anjali, and lots of love.
Thank you, Renuka, for stepping in for Eka. And thank you, Dakota.
Thanks for
Thank you,
thank you.
Dorcas.
Thank you
and
for a
thank you,
wonderful
Mela.
session, Nilu.
Thanks,
Anjali.
Mela. Thanks, Mela, for introducing all of us.
Yes, you did it all. Thanks for everything, Mela.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, good morning, good day, good night.
Good.
Meet you.
Thanks, Shireen,
Bye.
for organizing. Thank you.
Welcome, pleasure. Bye.
Bye-bye. Don't go